So yesterday we just talked about what exactly is an operating system, right? So as you know, we are learning RHCL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 8. Okay. And it's a Linux based operating system. So yesterday we talked about what exactly is Linux, who created this Linux operating system, and why are there so many Linux based operating systems in the market. Okay, as you know, it's because of the open source platform. Linux operating system is on the open source platform. Anyone can download, anyone can modify it and redistribute it with a different name. Okay, आप भी कर सकते हैं, you can also download it. अगर आपको करना है, just go to Google, just type Linux download. Okay, तो आपको जो लिंक आएगा उसको यू कैन यूज इट, यू कैन मॉडिफाई इट अगर आपको सी लैंग्वेज आती है एंड आपको पता है क्या मॉडिफिकेशन करना है, राइट? उसके बाद अपने नाम से आप एक नया ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, कोई इसमें बड़ी बात नहीं है। तो ऐसे ही लाइकवाइज सो मेनी कंपनीज हैव डाउनलोडेड दिस Linux operating system free, and they have modified it. They have created a team of developers who are constantly working and improving and adding new features to Linux. Okay, for example, Red Hat or maybe Ubuntu Linux, like that. Okay, and in the industry, Red Hat is the majorly used server operating system after Windows, right? Windows server is there, and then Red Hat Linux is there. All right. And yes, so as you know, Red Hat Linux operating system is provided by Red Hat organization. It's a very big company. Okay. So, whenever there is a development going on for the Red Hat version 8 or version 8.4 or 8.5, so all those code are not directly merged into the operating system. That code is actually tested somewhere. So that code is tested on test operating system, which is CentOS. Okay, again, it is provided by Red Hat. You can download it, you can use it. It's free of cost. You will also get updates for lifetime for free. But again, it is not a stable operating system. It has some issues, it has some bugs. Okay, so it is not recommended to use in a production environment. Okay, you can use it for your practice. All right. And yes, we also talked about how to create your own virtual machine if you want to practice how to install Red Hat Linux. Okay, yesterday I talked about how you can download VMware Player and RHCL 8 ISO, and then you can create your own virtual machine for practice. Okay, but yes, we also provide you labs also. Okay, I hope everyone has the access to the lab. They have the login credentials. You can log into the lab and check your access at least. Okay, so that it's easy for you to practice. Most of the participants might not have a very powerful laptop to create a virtual machine. Okay, some of you might be having 2 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM. Okay, so in that case, you can switch to the online lab. But still, if you want to practice, you can create a virtual machine with 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU. Okay, just for practice. Okay, so for CentOS, this is the link. Let me share in the chat. If you want to download CentOS, that it is fine, you can download it. But I recommend using Red Hat version 8. Okay. All right. So let me tell you something again. When we say server, okay, see, when you start working in a company, you will be saying this term server more often, right? But what exactly is a server? Server is basically combination of two things, two objects. First is the hardware, okay, and second one is the server operating system. All right. So hardware, it can be, a motherboard, processor, RAM, disks will be attached. So all these things come into a hardware, okay, hardware category. And the software which is going to operate or which is going to use that hardware is called operating system. Okay, so operating systems, famous ones are like Windows Server operating system, and then Linux based operating system like RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or Ubuntu, or Kali. There is also one which is called SUSE. Okay, SUSE. This is also competitor of RHEL. All right. See, Ubuntu is free to use, free to download, no charges. Kali is also free to use, free to download. CentOS is free. RHEL is paid, which means you can download the ISO for free, but in order to get the timely updates, you have to pay a subscription fee. Similarly, for SUSE, you can download the ISO. There are no charges, but yes, if you want updates, timely updates, security updates, okay, so you need to pay subscription fee. See, ultimately, companies are the ones who are, buying these subscription. They buy licenses in bulk, like 100 licenses or 200 licenses, based on their requirement. Let's say there is a project for banking. There has to be, 100 servers installed. 100 Red Hat Linux servers needs to be installed. So they will be buying the license accordingly. Okay, you don't need to worry. But yes, you are the Linux admin. You should know how to activate a license. I will tell you ahead. Okay, going ahead, I will tell you how to activate a license on RHEL. Okay, so that if required when you are working in a job, so you should know how to do it. All right. So moving ahead. Okay, if there is any questions, you can let me know about the yesterday's class or any other doubt. You can let me know right now. Okay, and just to remind you, you can unmute. There is no restriction. Okay, you can unmute to ask. Okay, we have a question. Rohan is asking, how is SUSE different to RHEL or Ubuntu? See, RHEL is provided by Red Hat. They have added some features to Linux so that it is more suitable for the servers. Similarly, SUSE is developed by Novel company. The company's name is Novel. Okay, so again, there are two different companies. They are two different competitors. But when we talk about the operating system difference, the main difference is SUSE uses a different command for updating the operating system. Red Hat uses a different command. So fundamentally, Linux operating systems are the same. All these servers which I've listed here, hold on, like RHEL, Ubuntu, Kali, SUSE, CentOS, all of them fundamentally are exactly the same. If you know RHEL, you know remaining ones also. This is the best part. Why? Because ultimately they are all using Linux, which is developed by Linus Torvalds, which is free of cost. Every company downloaded that, modified it, and now they are redistributing it, right? So, just few commands are different. In RHEL and Ubuntu, what is the difference? Few commands here and there are different, 2 to 3 commands. That's it. Again, Kali Linux, basically it is a CentOS only. Okay. On the top, it has some modified user interface. Some additional tools have been installed, which helps you to perform penetration testing and all that stuff, right? Similarly, SUSE, slight GUI is slightly different. Okay, commands or 90% commands are the same. Some commands, 1 or 2 commands are different than RHEL or Ubuntu. Okay, but yes, RHEL and CentOS, they both are exactly the same. They are clone. Okay, what is the difference? CentOS is the testing operating system. It is not stable. RHEL is stable operating system. It is meant for the industry. It is meant for the companies to use. Okay. Coming to the second question. Yes, Jasmine, I'm going to provide the PPT. Due to some technical issue, I couldn't upload it. So I'll try to upload the PPT today. All right. Okay, Khushi is asking, can I run Hyper-V along with VMware? No, I'm afraid you have to disable Hyper-V if you want to run VMware. But if you have Hyper-V installed and enabled, then no worries, you can create a virtual machine in Hyper-V as well. Okay. So, out of the three, Hyper-V, VMware, or VirtualBox, only one of the virtualization platform should be present on your system. Okay. See, if Hyper-V is enabled, then VMware will not function. If Hyper-V is disabled, you can install VMware also, as well as VirtualBox also. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is the scenario in Windows. Okay, so Anvay is
सर
asking. Yes, yes,
सर तो लिनक्स में जितने भी टाइप्स हैं इनकी बेसिक फंक्शनलिटी सेम है,
exactly.
फंक्शनलिटी की कमांड सेम है, बस इनके जो अलग अलग फीचर्स हैं उनका हमें एक्स्ट्रा पढ़ना पड़ेगा अगर हम कुछ अलग
हाँ,
पढ़ते हैं तो।
राइट 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 एग्जैक्टली। अगर आपको एक लाइनेक्स आ गया, रेड हैट आपने पढ़ लिया अच्छे से, तो आप सोचो सब कुछ आपको आ चुका है। आपको बस लेट्स से अब आपको उबंटू में काम करना है, तो आपको उबंटू के बस छोटा सा पार्ट पढ़ना पड़ेगा जो कि डिफरेंट है रेड हैट से, और वो होंगी सिर्फ कमांड्स, राइट। सिस्टम अपडेट करने की डिफरेंट कमांड होगी, लाइक दैट।
ओके सर।
ओके, जैसे एक एक एग्जांपल दिया है ना सिस्टम अपडेट करने का। फॉर एग्जांपल, रेड हैट
यस
में
सर।
हम यम कमांड यूज करते हैं, उबंटू में एपीटी कमांड यूज करते हैं, सूजे में जैपर कमांड यूज करते हैं, तीन डिफरेंट कमांड्स हैं, बट काम वही है, बैकग्राउंड में सिस्टम अपडेट करना। तो बस ये छोटे छोटे
ओके।
डिफरेंसेस हैं, ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं है।
ओके सर।
या एंड देयर इज वन क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन जीनोम केडीई? ओके, सो बेसिकली genome is your graphical user interface. Okay, kde is also another form of graphical user interface where you get the layout similar to Windows. Like in Windows you have a start button, right, and you have a taskbar in the bottom. Similarly in kde you will get the look and feel just like as if you are using a kind of a Windows operating system. Okay, it's like that. All right. Okay guys, so let us begin for today. All right, so let us start with the architecture. See, this is very important. This is the day two, and you should be aware of some terminologies in Linux. Okay, and the first terminology is the hardware. I think everyone know what hardware is. Hardware basically comprises of your CPU, RAM, disk. Okay, so I'm just giving you an abstract view. So this is the hardware. So now what is the software which is actually talking to the hardware? If you say operating system, yes, but what inside operating system? Operating system is a very big software. There are multiple small softwares working together, right? So there is a software which is called kernel. Okay, it is inside the operating system only. So that software is called kernel. It has only one job, to talk to the hardware. Okay, so kernel talks to the hardware. It knows how to talk to the hardware. Basically kernel understands the language of hardware. All right, and then if the kernel understands the language of hardware, how will it understand our language? See, I am a end user, or you are the end user. You will be working on a Linux server, right? You have to run commands. So kernel only understands the language of hardware. It doesn't understand commands and everything. So to bridge this gap from the end user to the hardware, there is another program which is called shell program. Okay, so shell program's job is to check whatever user is typing. Okay, if the user is typing a command, so shell program will check what is this command, what is the code written in the command. It will explain the code to the kernel. Okay, shell program will be explaining the code of the command to the kernel, and then kernel will understand the code, and then it will talk to the hardware to get the output. All right, so these are some things like hardware talks end users will be talking to shell, will be giving commands to shell will be translating the commands to the kernel, and then kernel will talk to the hardware to generate the output. Okay, this is a kind of a chain reaction. All right, so shell is not only talking to users, it is also talking with the applications. See, whenever we install any application, it is doing something, right? So in the background, the application is also running some commands in the background, which we don't see. So, those commands will be handled by the shell itself, and then shell will translate the commands to the kernel so that kernel can understand, and then kernel will talk to the hardware. So this is the chain. I see, if you are not able to remember this chain, no worries. I'll be explaining you this again and again throughout this course, and this is very important. Okay, so this is the fundamentals of Linux. Okay, if you understand this, everything will become easy. All right, so this was the architecture, the basic overview. Okay, we have two more questions. How long is the course? This course is 45 to 50 hours course. All right. And can we modify kernel? Yes. If you know C language, if you know kernel programming, yes, you can modify kernel. But for that, you need to know what do you want to modify? Do you want to add a new feature? What is that feature? How will you program that feature? You should know everything. Okay. So you can, yes, definitely you can modify the kernel. Okay. Now coming to the directory structure. Now, what is a directory structure? When we talk about operating system, what is directory structure? Let me give you first example of Windows. Okay. It will make you understand things easy. See, if when I install Windows, like in my C drive, as you can see, if I open it, I will get some folders. For example, program files, users, Windows. These are three folders will be present every time I install a new Windows operating system, right? So Windows, program files, these two, and users. Okay, so this is the directory structure for Windows. What about Linux? When Linux is installed, what do we get? We get bin directory. Okay, we say directory in Linux and folder in Windows. So we get bin directory, we get boot, dev, etc, home, root, run, sbin, temp, usr, var. So there are so many directories created, and each directory has its own purpose. Okay. So, okay, one more thing. Like in Windows, we say partitions and C drive, D drive, right? Like in Windows, we have C drive, we have D drive, right? And all the operating system files are normally in C drive, right? C drive will contain Windows files. Okay, and might be D drive is having your movies and games, etc. I can say data. Okay, your data. Your data is in D drive, and all the Windows installation related files are in C drive. Okay, as well as user and program files. All right, this is about Windows. Now, what about Linux? When we talk about Linux, it does these drives are non-existent. Okay, so these drives do not exist. We have a concept called slash. This slash is called root. Okay, this root is what? Starting of the operating system. Okay, so we do not have the concept of drives here. We have a concept of slash. This slash is called root. Okay, as you know, the tree has a root. The tree starts from the root and then it has some branches. Similarly, in Linux operating system, the operating starts from the root and it is donated by slash symbol. Okay, and under the slash we will be having multiple directories. Okay, so all right, so before I explain you all the directories, let me tell you there are like three root in Linux. One root is what? The starting of the operating system, which is slash. Second root is the root directory. Okay, it's the home directory of root user. And the third one is the root user itself. So root user is what? It's the admin account in Linux. Admin account means admin account. Using admin account, you can do anything in Linux. Okay, there are no restrictions. You can run any command. Okay, and in Linux there are basically two types of users. One is the root user, which is the admin. Second type of user is a non-root user. So non-root users basically have restrictions. Non-root user cannot run all the commands. They can only run limited commands. Okay. All right. So with this basic understanding, let me explain you all the directories. Okay. So let me do one thing. Let me just quickly start my virtual machine, VMware player. Okay. So yesterday I created this October RHEL8, right? This machine. So I'm going to play it. So it's up to you. You can use the online lab also, and I recommend that also. But for just one time, for the installation practice, you have to create the VM, okay? Because ultimately, when you start working, your team leader or your SME might be assigning you task to, install operating system, Linux operating system on 3 virtual machines. Okay, then you should know, you should be comfortable. Okay, so it's booting up. Okay, Arjun is asking, can we dual boot two Linux distros in one hard disk? Yes, you can do it. That's easy. Let me just accept this license and then I will explain you how you can do it. Okay. So see, I'm using a graphical user interface. That's why I'm getting this accept this license and all that stuff, right? So this is just one-time activity. When you're using GUI, this will happen. If you are not using GUI, then there will be no license acceptance prompt like this. Okay, you want to install two Linux operating system in one single hard disk. Yes, it is possible. At the time of installation, you can create two partitions. Okay, so in the first partition, you can select the partition and select the option automatic, as I explained you yesterday. On that first partition, your operating system will be installed. And again, use the other operating system ISO, and then use the second partition for the installation. All right. So again, this is again one-time activity. As you see on the screen, it is a welcome screen. As for the first time, I'm logging in, right? So full name, let me give a, I see in this screen, when it asks you full name, it is asking for the user account. So let me use a student, a name student. Okay. So I'm just creating a non-root account student. Username is student, full name is student. Click next. Set a password for student user. Let me give Red Hat as the password, although it is weak, but it's fine for now. Okay. Start using Red Hat Enterprise Linux. And here you go. So this is the desktop of the RHCL8. Okay. All right. So if I go to files, I want to show you the installation. What do you get after installation? If I go to files, I'm immediately seeing is the home directory of student user. On the left, you see home. Okay. So I don't want to go to home. I want to go to other locations. On the left, you see last option, other locations. On the right, there is computer icon. Okay. And to the right, see 13 GB slash 18 GB available, which means 13 GB is free in this computer. And in the end, you see a slash here. Okay. So basically, this is the starting point of my operating system. Let me get inside. Now you see these are the files these are the directories which are created after Linux installation. Okay, bin, boot, dev, etc home, and on the directory you see an arrow. It's basically a shortcut. Okay, so original location is different. So bin, boot, dev, etc home. There is a root directory as well, right? There is sbin. There are basically 4 shortcuts: bin, sbin, lib64. So basically the original location is in USR. You see a USR directory here. If I go inside, you will see bin, lib64, and sbin. See, all these are original files. And in the slash, these are just the shortcuts. I will tell you how to create a shortcut in Linux. Okay. So now coming to the explanation of these directories. So basically, first of all, let me explain you about USR directory. See, as I told you, there are two types of users. One is a root user and another one is a non-root user. In a Linux operating system, there will be only one root user and many non-root users, right? Okay. So root user can run all the commands and non-root users can run only limited commands. Okay. So basically, when we say command, what is a command? It is a kind of a piece of code written in a file, right? So it is just a piece of code written in a file. So non-root users can run only those commands which are present in USR bin directory. Okay, in this location. Inside USR, there is a bin directory and shortcut is here as well. This is the same directory. Okay. So if I go here, I will see lot of files here. See, there are so many files created. All these files are basically commands. Okay. Let me give you one example. Let me open activities, then terminal. Okay, let me change the font size. This is fine, right? Okay, so there is one very small command which is called ls. Ls means list the contents of the directory. Directory means right now where are you? So in that location, what is present? So in my current location, right now my cursor, this blinking cursor is in /home/student. PWD command can tell you present working directory. So right now I am inside /home/student. If there is a user Rohit, if he logs in, he will get the /home/Rohit directory as a home directory. Okay. So every user will have its own home directory. So like I typed this command ls, I get an output. All these are directories inside my home directory. Let me show you graphically. If I go to home, see desktop, document, download, music, pictures. Same you see here, desktop, document, download, music, pictures. So ls means just list whatever is present in your current directory. Okay. So ls is what? A command. And if when I say command, it is actually a file, a piece of code. So if student user can run ls, the command ls should be in /usr bin. Let me go to this location. /usr bin. This is the location. Here ls file should be there. So let me search ls. The first file is this. Okay, the first file is ls. So in this location, usr bin, all the commands are there, and these commands are meant to be used by non-root users. Okay, although root user can run any command, there is no restriction, but a non-root user can run only those commands which are present in /usr/bin. Okay. Second location is usr sbin. So all the system administration commands are there, which means root user can run, only root user can run these commands. So let me go to that location inside sbin. So inside sbin, there are again some commands which only root user can run. For example, let me give you one command. Let's say yum install Firefox. So it is a command which only a root user can run, and it will install Firefox browser. Okay. Okay, there is some error within the yum, which I will tell you later. Let me use some other command. Let's say pvs. There is a command pvs, which only root user can run, and I'm getting a warning. I am a student user, right? So warning, running as a non-root user, functionality may be unavailable and permission denied in the end. So obviously, so this pvs command will be in sbin. So if I can check, hold on, let me search pvs command here. So yes, there is one command pvs in sbin. That's why if this command had been in bin directory, so student user might be able to use it. But since this file is in sbin, only root user can use it. Okay. Moreover, this pvs command internally has a code written that only root can run this command. Non-root users cannot. Even if you copy and paste it in bin directory, there will be no effect. Student user will not be able to run. Okay. So just to categorize the commands, there are two different directories. All right. We have a question. What is inside these command files? Basically a code. Okay, executable code. See, if I try to open this file, I will see just garbage. Let me show you. If I click open, see, first of all, the fonts are not supported. The system says fonts are not available. Let me use the command line to open this file. Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to become root over here. I will explain you how am I doing. Okay. So right now I am root user. Let me go to this directory. Oh, sorry, it's sbin. Okay. Cat pvs. So this is the garbage you see. So basically this is a code which shell program can understand. Okay. So command line interface cannot understand it, cannot display it on the screen because it is a binary executable code. Okay. It is not a source code. A source code, you can view a source code, but you cannot view the executable code.
Hi, you are watching the recording from one of our live session. Hit like, share, and subscribe for more future updates.
Okay, then how to access the pvs command? Another question. See, pvs command is what? You just need to write pvs. Hold on. pvs, that's it. I am root user, pvs command got executed. But I was trying to open this file. pvs as a command, if you want to run it, just simply type it pvs. But as a file, if you want to see, you will use a command called cat. It will display the contents of a file. I want to display what is written inside pvs file, cat pvs. So you see, there is some English also. I mean, some alphabets you see here, and some I think above also you will be able to see. But you know, the overall the complete file is a executable file. It is not viewable directly. You cannot view it. Although you can use it simply, just use the command like the name, just call the name pvs. That's it. Okay, why do we change the owner when accessing the file at times? I will explain you in the upcoming classes about the file permission, file ownership. Okay, then uh, you know, if I explain you this, if I give you the solution, other participants may get confused, right? So when typing su pvs, it gives an error. User pvs does not exist. See, su is what? I have not explained you su command yet. I haven't explained you any command yet. I am just giving you examples. Okay. So su command means switch user. And pvs is a command. So you cannot say su pvs. Switch user to pvs. There is no user created by the name pvs. If I say su root, this means become root. It will ask for root password and I will become root like this. Hold on. I am right now student, right? If I type switch user root, now system is asking for root password. I'm giving root password, which I know it is Red Hat, and I logged in as root. The prompt has changed. Earlier, I could see student at localhost. Now I am getting root at localhost. Okay. So I'm not explaining you any commands yet. Okay. So one by one, I'll be proceeding. Okay. So in USR, there is another directory which is called USR/local. Inside USR, there is a local directory in which you can save your customized software. Let's say you created your own command, which you can do it. I will explain you in the upcoming classes. Okay, so you have created your own command. You can save that command file in this local directory. Okay. Then after USR, there is another directory, important directory, which is etc. Now, etc is meant to store all the configuration files. your system configuration files are stored in etc. As I explained last time, everything is a file in Linux. Okay, there are no registries, there are everything, each and every element in Linux is a file. Okay, and there are so many programs running in Linux in the background, and every program has its own configuration file. That configuration file is saved in etc. Even your network configuration, IP address details will be present inside etc. Okay. Then we have var directory. So this var directory is meant to store website files, system log files, or maybe database files. All these files are basically do not have a fixed size. Database files does not have a database file will never have a fixed size. Why? Because constantly the database is updating, the file sizes keep on changing. So all the variable data specific files will be saved in /var. All those files whose size is not fixed. Configuration files are fixed size files. They do not change time to time. I mean, they do not change that rapidly. Yes, once in a year, once in 6 months, you change the configuration file. That's fine. But database files or maybe website files, they keep on changing. The size keep on changing. Okay. Then we have /run. Okay, /run directory is used by the kernel software. Even root user cannot manipulate the files which are inside /run. Okay, so /run is reserved for the system, for the operating system. /home directory. So this home directory where regular users or non-root users store their personal data. Okay, /root directory. Now this root directory is the home directory of root user. So let me show you graphically. So this is the root directory. It says cross right now. Why? Because I logged in as student user. Student user does not have permission to look into root directory. If I try to open it, it says give the root password. If I have the root password, I can enter. If I do not have, the authentication will fail. Okay. So basically, normally only root user can access root home directory. All right. Then we have /temp. Inside / we have a temp directory here, this one. So this is a kind of a directory where any user can create files or directories. Like if I open it, as you see, so many files and directories have been created. Most of them have been created by user root. That's why I see a cross sign. Okay, so in this temp directory, any user can create a file, but the users can only delete their own files, not others files. Okay, so इस डायरेक्टरी में जो यूजर्स हैं वो कोई भी यूजर आके यहाँ पे फाइल बना सकता है फॉर टेम्परेरी बेसिस. ओके, बट जो यूजर है वो अपनी ही फाइल ही डाउनलोड डिलीट कर सकता है और मॉडिफाई कर सकता है, दूसरे की फाइल को टच नहीं कर सकता. ओके, और देयर इज वन मोर थिंग in this temp directory. If there is any file which has not been modified or touched from last 10 days, those files get automatically deleted. Okay, so automatic files get deleted after 10 days if no modification has happened or nobody has accessed that file. So this is a kind of a temporary location, you can say. Then we have /boot. So this boot directory, where it is, yeah. So this is a boot directory. It contains the kernel, okay, the kernel application, the kernel program, and all other files related to system booting. System booting means when you power on the system, the process is called system booting. Okay, so booting related files are present in /boot. And finally, we have /dev, DEV. As I told you, everything is a file. Even the devices, even the hardware is represented as a device. Okay. Sorry, even the hardware is represented as a file. All right, so let me show you what is inside /dev. All right, so you see so many files and directories are created. And let me show you the file which represents my hard disk. You see this NVMe0N1, NVMe0N1 P1, and NVMe0N1 P2. So this is my 20 GB disk, NVMe0N1. And how did I came to know this? I will explain you later. Again, I will tell you some commands using which you can get to know what is the name of your hard disk given by the Linux operating system. Okay, so zero NVMe 0 N1 P1 means the first partition of my hard disk. P2 file means this is the second partition. Okay, always remember you do not have to work on these files. These are just for you to just check the names and check the availability of the device like this. Okay, even the CD-ROM, even the CD-ROM is represented as a file. This one SR0, this file SR0 represents your CD-ROM. Again, you do not have to do anything to this file. Operating system uses /dev directory to use the hardware. Okay, so operating system has to use hardware, right? So it will use /dev directory to locate the hardware, and accordingly it will use it. Okay. All right, any questions till now? Okay, I'll take it as no. Let's move ahead. Okay, Linux installation on a virtual machine, it is done. What is the difference between a file and a directory? In Windows, we say folder. Okay, what is a folder? When you can group files in a folder, right? Similarly, in Linux, you can group files in a directory. Like there is a folder website images. We have all the images. These images are files. I have grouped them in a directory, website images. Okay. Can we create our own commands or command files? Yes. I will tell you how you can create your own command. Okay. Command is nothing. It internally, it contains some more commands. Okay. So you can create your own command using some existing commands, or you can also create a command from scratch using C language, and then you can create its executable file. For that, you need to know C language, C++ language. Okay. And plus, I won't be explaining you how to create that sort of command in this course. Okay. But yes, using shell script, you can create a command. All right. So moving ahead to shell, as I told you, shell is a program which runs on the CLI. Let me show you again. So this is the command line interface. Okay. So when I type this command pwd, okay, this is a command. I'm typing it out. I'm typing this command on a command line interface, right? So what is actually happening here? If I press enter, as soon as I press enter, the shell program will try to locate this command file pwd. Where is this pwd? Okay. So as soon as I hit enter, the shell program will try to find this file pwd inside /usr/bin in this location. This one. And here there will be pwd file present. Okay, this is the one. So now this shell program will open this file. Shell program can execute this file. Okay. So shell program can open this file and it will translate the code to the kernel one by one, line by line. Okay. So kernel will understand the code in its language and it will talk to the hardware and it will generate the hardware and pass the hardware to back to the command line interface. Okay. So as soon as I press enter, I get the output here on the screen. So it happens so fast. For us, it is just a blink of an eye, right? immediately. PWD enter and you get the result. But in the backend, so many things are going. Shell program is reading this PWD command file and it is translating the file line by line to the kernel program. And then kernel program is talking to the hardware and then generating the output and sending back to the output screen on the output device. Okay. So this is actually the shell. Now a shell program, there are, in the market, there are many shell programs. See, if you are a C language programmer, you would want that your shell program should understand C commands as well, C language syntax as well, right? So you will be using a shell program which understands C language. Okay. So, it depends on the use case. What is the purpose of your job? What is your job role? Okay. So, in the market, there are like many shell programs available, but most commonly used shell program, the name of the shell program which is most commonly used, it is called bash. Okay. BASH. The full form is born again shell, BOURNE. Okay. So let me just type it. Shell program. How many are there? The most commonly used is bash. Born again shell. And bash shell is the modern version of SH. It was called Bourne shell. It was a very old, introduced in 1970 maybe. Okay, it's a very old shell program. So it has been updated and the updated version is called Born Again shell, bash. All right. Similarly, there is CSH. So it is meant for the programmers who use Linux operating system for developing programs based on C language or based on C++ language. Okay. Similarly, we have ZSH, TCSH. Okay. So, again, you are a system administrator. You will be 90% or maybe 98% working on bash shell, born again shell. Okay. So how to make sure that you're working on bash? There are multiple ways actually. So like I am right now on the command line interface, right? How to know I'm working on bash or CSH? What is it? You can just simply run this command echo capital shell. It will, oh, sorry. Echo dollar capital shell in capitals. Okay. Echo dollar and then shell word in capitals. Press enter. You will get the name of the shell program which is being used right now. It is bash. Okay. In older systems, maybe Red Hat 4, Red Hat 5, you might see something like /bin/sh. Maybe. But again, it is a very low possibility. You will again get bash only. All right. Any questions? Okay, we have a question. Okay, how can you see yesterday's session video and notes? All right, so as I told you, due to some technical reason, I don't think the video got uploaded, or I am not able to see the course on the portal. Okay, because I can upload the video and I can upload the PPT. So I'll just make sure tomorrow the things are loaded for day 1 and day 2. Okay. Yes, also it is on YouTube as well. But for the PPT which I'm using to explain, I was not able to upload that. All right. But yes, for the video, you can use YouTube. All right. So this is some explanation about shell program. Okay. Again, today we are discussing a lot of terminologies. Don't worry. It is not the end because on daily basis, we are going to use these terms. So slowly and steadily, we will get used to it. Okay. All right. So, okay. So function of shell program is to read the command. Okay. And now let's come to the command. So what is the proper way of typing a command? Or in other words, what is the syntax of a command? Okay. So command is basically made up of 2 to 3 parts. First part is the command itself. Second part is the options. Okay. And we give options using a hyphen. And the third part is the arguments. Let me say argument 1, argument 2, like that, argument n. So n number of arguments can be given. But what are these exactly? So for example, there is one command ls. ls means list the contents of the directory. Okay. So if I want to give any option, hyphen, using hyphen, I can give an option. And there is one very popular option which is L. So ls space hyphen L. So this is a half command. Okay. Although it will work, let me show you. This will also work. Like ls hyphen L. So now the same things are being displayed, but with additional details. Now you see what is the purpose of option. Option will, give you the additional details, or it can change the behavior of command. If you do not use hyphen L, ls command will give you just the names. Okay, no details, no size, no ownership, no permissions, nothing. But if you use ls hyphen L means long list format. So these are the permissions set on this directory. Who is the owner of the directory? When was the directory created? All these details are being displayed. Okay. So ls hyphen L is one option, one example. What about the argument? I did not give any argument. So for ls command, argument is optional. If you do not use any argument, your present directory will act as an argument. Okay, if you do not give any argument. But if you want to give any argument, you can give, for example, ls-l / tmp. Okay, ls-l / tmp. So let me run this command, ls-l / tmp. Notice the spaces, ls space -l space /tmp. So as you know, temporary directory will have some files. If I press enter, so you see all these files along with the details from temp directory, right? Okay, so this is the way we are going to use the commands. Okay, so now the question arises, just a second. Now the question arises, how to get these options? See, in ls command, there are like 20-30 options. But how to know what are these options? There is an inbuilt help in the Linux as well. Okay, there is a question. Why didn't we have to close the /temp? Okay, let me show you. Hold on. Okay, the question is, if I typed ls-l /tmp. Okay, and we are getting some output. Let me run the same command again. ls-l /tmp/. Still, I'm getting the same output. Okay. So if you give a slash, it actually means inside that tmp directory. If you do not give slash, again, the same thing. ls command will go inside this tmp directory and give you the details. What if you do not want to see the details inside the directory, but about the directory? Let's say /tmp. When was this directory created? Either you can use ls-l /. So whatever is inside slash, you will get the details. So inside slash, we have all these directories. Here we have temp as well. Okay, this tmp. So this was created on October 26th. All right. And there is one more option like ls-ld. I'm using a second option D along with L. So D means do not go inside, just tell me details about this directory. Which directory? /tmp or maybe /var. You have to give complete path. So this is a /var directory. It was created on this date, and the root is the owner of this directory, and these are the permissions. I am going to explain you each and everything maybe tomorrow. Okay. So I'm just giving you an overview how commands work. All right. So let me just check what is the, yeah. Okay. So before I conclude this class, let me just give you last thing. How to find what are the options in a command? Like in ls, there are so many options. You can just use command space -- help. Okay. You can use -- help with any command like this. So this is it for today, and we'll meet tomorrow. Okay, and we're going to discuss more about commands. All right.